So you brought up the Mr. McMahon documentary. I just did a podcast talking about it. What do you extrapolate from it? Was that your was there anything new? I get it. It wasn't made for us. It wasn't made for like Uber marks. It was made for people who like watch Jeffrey Dahmer shows on Netflix and stuff like that. So I understand that aspect, their approach to it, but Vince didn't really tell us anything. And he just worked in the very first episode. He's like, yeah, and you don't know what I'm thinking. I'm going to tell you some stuff, but it's not really what I'm thinking, but it'll be entertaining, pal.
Yeah,
so you're just like, okay, it's all, but yeah, what did you make of it, Husey?
The only bit that sort of stuck out to me of interest was that I'm sure you've heard the infamous Vince and Sable rumors from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that when they were asking Vince about it in the documentary, suddenly goes, wait a minute, who, Sable? Who? Because it's like, you're asking me if I had an affair with Brock Lesnar's wife? Do you want to shut that up?
Yeah.
Like, I'm almost 80 years old. His daughter could kill me.
Yeah.
She actually could.
And there's like rumors of what those two did together. There's poomers about what those two did together. Behind closed doors.
That was one of the things that made me laugh so much that if you go back and look at that, like one of the first things Vince says in this documentary, he mentions a.
Yeah.
So it was on his mind. God damn it, pal! When you eat the fiber that a billionaire does, you're gonna take a bit crap.
Yeah. My word, man, silliness. And I liked hearing like him actually address things like Montreal screw job. Like we've never heard him actually say it, So I appreciated little moments like that. And what else was there that made? Oh yeah, it was when he was like, yeah, we as businessmen, we put things out there that's not really what we think or feel to control how people think and feel about things. And my theory is the reason he put that press, because you know how he put out like a statement right before the doc and then all this news came out. Vince tried to buy it up and he didn't want anyone to see this. I think that was him. If I'm going to do a conspiracy theory here, I'll play some X-Files music for it, but I know the truth is out there. Vince, I think, put that statement out to make everyone look at this doc and go, well, he's not so bad.
I think that with, because I was actually talking about this to my good friend, Vince Russo, and we were saying that the problem with this documentary is that they've made it like 5 years too early. And you really should have waited until whatever the outcome of this Chanel Grant case is before you make this documentary. It reminded me of, do you remember in 2008 Oliver Stone made a George Bush film while he was still the president? And it's like, but how can you talk about his run as president while he's president?
Yeah.
Like, at least wait a decade and then you could make it. So I just think it was a good idea that happened too soon. And I would have much rather a Chris Benoit documentary, like a really intense one.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was interesting because Vince wasn't in this at all, really. Like, it was mostly other people, so we didn't get anything. And like I said before at the start, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna tell you stuff, but it's not even really what I think. Or the only part that was really compelling to me, or the first part I'd say where I really went, okay, now this is heating up a bit, is getting good, is when the producers actually pushed back on his territory, or he's like, Ted Turner was preying on us, and then, but they're like, you did the exact same thing to the territories. And he's like, well, no, I was just competing. I wasn't trying to hurt my competition. And they're like, well, what the? And he's like, well, listen, things I might tell you isn't really how I feel. It's like, okay, this is just more, we're never really ever going to know. And it's sad because I was hoping, like, I'm not trying to be like weird, but it's what you said, an intense Chris Benoit documentary. We got to get into the nitty gritty. I want to get into, like, he's like, yeah, my old stepdad socked me around a couple times. Well, like, tell us about that. I want to know. I don't know. I just, not that like I want to hear like a child trauma story, but they just glossed over his upbringing. I thought it would be more focused on all that we didn't know, and then like on Hogan slammed Andre, pal. Like, okay, we know that. So they threw that in there. I didn't think it would be I thought that would be where we'd get subtitles like, yeah, Hogan slammed Andre, Vince did good. Here's the real guy. But no, and then it made me realize, like 2 episodes deep, not even that long, like 1 episode deep, I'm like, yeah, this is made for my girlfriend. This is made for like people who want to watch Making a Murderer or Tiger King. Turn on this Vince doc and you'll get a kick out of it, you know?
Yeah, and I loved how it was basically, they said Vince McMahon was sexually abused by his own mother. So then when we went to the Monday Night Wars, I go, wait, what? He was what? I go, we said we've got to bring in attitude. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I know you attitude. What did you say? Vince was wanted by his who?
Yeah, and Moose Knuckle in the chat, I'm not going to leave that on screen forever, but Vince slipped in the word Vincest. I don't know how to say it. Vincest. And they just glossed over it. Like, they just breezed over it. And he was no-selling everything. They're like, how did you feel when Hogan turned heel? He's like, oh, he did a pretty good heel turn. You know? Yeah. He just no-sold everything, dude, for the most part. And so, I don't know. I didn't think overall it's just, I don't know. I'm still dropping my reviews. They come out like every day. I got one of them coming out where I just reviewed it episode by episode, but I didn't review it like, was that?
I was going to say, you're dropping them like a shit on Janelle Grant's head during sex.
Exactly, dude. So yeah, but I'm still going to release those just because they're my live reactions. Like, it's as I'm watching it, I pause it, give my thoughts, and I don't really dwell on like, oh, NWO is crazy. They lawn darted Rey Mysterio, and we know. So
you know, what I did find interesting, because I'm not as much as I used to be, but I was a professional editor, and the Rock was in that, what was it, a 6-part documentary series. The Rock was in that documentary for 27 seconds.
Yeah. So
unless they interviewed The Rock for 1 minute, what was said in those interviews, that they were like, The Rock was like, you better not use that.
Either it was him saying you better not use that, or it was him saying a bunch of that didn't matter. But you're right, it's The Rock though. They're going to want to use him as much as possible, you know? Because I could just see him going there and just saying the same old. But you're right, like maybe he did drop a bunch of bombs because he was in like the intro where they're showing like Stone Cold, John Cena, The Rock, etc. And then he was in it like one other time, I think, right? In all 6 episodes.
Yeah, and then I bet you Stone Cold was basically like, hey, I'll answer any question you have except for Deborah McMichael questions. He's like, why? Like, because I didn't do anything. Plus, you made me do it. Yeah. What?
She made me do it. Yeah. I hit her one time. Hit her 2 times. Drink a
What? I only hit her once a day for 30 days. That doesn't really count.
Someone give me an oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. I tell you, Jeff Jarrett sucks.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, that was our review of the Vince McMahon documentary. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Husey. There's some stuff going on with the Lucha Brothers here, man. So I'm sure you've heard. I want to know, because some people are blaming your boy Conan about this, because basically, I'm not sure if Conan was the first one to be like, the Lucha Brothers are, getting out of their deals or what. I'm not sure about all that. But basically, we've had reports forever from all the dirt sheets for the last like month and a half now, or however long it's been. The Lucha Bros are going to WWE. They trademark new names. They have masks being printed out. And then all of a sudden, it's like, nope, they're still under contract. And Tony Khan is extending their contracts due to injury time, which he's well within his right to do. But he did talk all that at the beginning of AEW and was like, I'm not going to do things like that. But he's doing it, of course, because it's the wrestling business, pal. But people are giving Conan too. I've seen people be like, man, if Conan didn't say nothing, these guys would have been able to slip out seamlessly. What are your thoughts on all of this?
At least it's a sign that Tony Khan is finally acting like a boss. This is not the first time he's done this. There was a thing maybe 2 years ago. I don't know if it got covered much in the sheets, but there was some type of big backstage blow up about. Did you ever remember hearing a story about how the Bucks and Kenny Omega basically give like a lecture to the rest of the roster?
Mm-hmm.
And it caused huge backstage drama, and apparently there was like 8 people, like big names, went to Tony Khan and asked for the release, and Tony said yes, but then at the last minute he said, actually no, you're not going, you're going to stay to the end of your deal, and he's every right to do that. So I think maybe it's a good sign that Tony's starting to actually act like a boss, but what is the point? He has, over 250 wrestlers that he has to, by law, keep paying them. He has to cover up all their medical needs, all that. What is the point of keeping people around that don't want to be there and are actively trying to leave?
I agree, dude. And especially when you talked all that at the beginning of AEW. Oh, we won't keep people... like all that stuff. He's going to pay people's medical bills. He didn't do that. He's going to pay women equally. He doesn't do that other than Monet. He's going to all this. And one of the things was, we're not going to keep people here if they don't want to be here. Well, you have a slew of people who don't want to be there. You're not letting them go. I don't know, man. It's completely madness that now the narrative, as well as like from all these AEW sicko accounts, they're like, yeah, dude, he's well within his right. And they're all the same people who were doing like hashtag free Ali, free Mustafa Ali and stuff. It's bananas to me that we're going to keep going in this cycle of just like mental illness on social media with these people.
I will only do my Tony Khan impression if there's super chats. I'll read out whatever the super chats are.
Okay,
Tony Khan.
Yeah, otherwise you got to stick with my Mickey Mouse one for now.
But the thing is, of course, you can't say who told me this, but it's a good source.
Yeah,
and they told me that that if you notice any time a story leaks out to the dirt sheets about how someone in AEW is a backstage problem, that's because they've asked for their release.
Every time.
Yeah, and it's only then, like you never, the dirt sheets never reported back. Okay, do you remember the AEW pay-per-view where Danielson and Adam Cole debuted?
Yeah.
Right? Nobody ever heard about the big blow-up backstage that CM Punk had at that show.
Did he have a blow-up backstage at that?
Yeah, because apparently that was his first match for them, and his first match in a while. But apparently his blow-up was, why would they have 2 big debuts at the end of the show that he just had his first match at? So the point is, like, so who's the main focus of this episode? And to be fair, he has a point, but also
he does have a point. Yeah,
get over yourself, you know.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's like, come on, we're hotshot booking here. You don't get what's going on over here. Yeah. Tony's throwing money around, baby.
And of course, the sheets never mentioned that. There's loads of backstage you don't hear, but I did. Something else was pointed out to me that, have you noticed every time AEW has like a public failure, like the video game or the TV ratings or ticket sales, that's when stories come out of, oh, there's trouble backstage at WWE. I don't know if you've seen the latest one. Is that Jacob Fatu has hate with Triple H, and it's like, no, he doesn't.
God, man, who's saying? Oh my God.
Like, we all know who's leaking that story and who's telling people to report that. But it's like that's like saying that Jacob Fatu's white. Like, is it?
Tell
yeah, exactly.
You know, you goddamn liar.
Yeah, it's just a clearly made up policy, and it's stupid.
It's so weird how the media, like the main media too, they're the gatekeepers too. This is why we focus on this stuff, folks, because these people like gatekeep. and they like control what the narrative sort of is to. I don't even know if it's that anymore because it's starting to turn on these, but they do have, like, let's be honest, like these news sources got more subs than I do, and so they have a bigger platform. They can spew this to wider audiences than I can combat against it,
But did you see the thing going around of because Tony Khan has signed Lashley and Shelton Benjamin?
Yeah.
And MVP, obviously.
Yeah.
But did you see the thing going around where Meltzer was talking about how bad of an idea that is?
Yes. So I got that. Do you want me to pull that up or what? Let me do it. Guys, Hughesy's calling the shots, man, today. So we have it. Dave Meltzer, and we will play a flute for Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. So Dave Meltzer questioned AEW's talent signing strategy following the debut of former WWE star MVP with Lashley and Benjamin potentially set to join them. Obviously, they're joining him. If there's, he goes, actually, if there's, people you're going to, bring in, actually really think you want to bring in younger people like Tony Khan. They're already too old. So just buries them as far as like an overall roster. And they are, though. There's actually science behind this, and I have it somewhere in my bookmarks. There is the average age of a wrestler competing in AEW in the ring for the first time ever or whatever is now older than the average wrestler in WWE or something like that. I don't know. I saw some chart. Brandon Thirsty Thurston posted it. But yeah, Dave goes on to say, especially now because their viewership, they're running older, they've lost the younger viewership. Or maybe that's what Thurston was posting. It had to do with the viewership. I don't know. I just gloss over these things, bookmark it, then react to it live on the show, guys. I can't lie to you. I don't do my diligence here. Don't listen to me. Will best relate to younger talent. Not necessarily guys that are better. Smarter workers, because these guys are. I know they have some young guys they put on their TV like Nick Wayne, and others, but it just feels like too many guys in that age group, and MVP is just another one. And there's probably too many ex-WWE guys as well, and we've got probably 3 more coming. Shelton is not a young guy, and Bobby is not a young guy anymore, even though he looks great. And if Dave's talking about 3 more coming, is he implying Cedric Alexander is going to be with them too? Because he's been tagging in NXT recently and recently re-signed from what we heard. But anyways, though, Husey, what do you make of all this?
Well, first of all, Dave Meltzer is a great man, and I would guess that if he was going to appear on an upcoming live stream of a certain podcast, it would be happening next week. So if anyone has any cues directly for Mr. Meltzer, jump in the chat, and he will knowledgeably answer them. But on this thing, I find it interesting that Meltzer said that, because it's strange that like I like Lashley and all that, but it's like, but you're in your late 40s and you're a physical freak. How long can he keep that up? For real, like Lashley. It's well known AEW do not drug test their wrestlers. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, and this is the mad thing, Lashley in WWE was a medically tested guy. Now imagine that, when you can do whatever you want and no one's going to say.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and really, Shelton Benjamin is the really like, and even right now, if you're booking AEW, who do they wrestle? Whose spot are they going to take? Like, this is going to cause so much trouble behind the scenes.
I agree. I don't think this is a good move at all. Especially if they set this up like Swerve versus Lashley or something as the first feud. That's because it seems like MVP and Nana are crossing paths. If who knows, but goddamn, I'm happy that because they're all old. Like, I'm all good, and I'm not like, oh, they're old and washed up. I'm just saying, like, I'm all good when any of these legends. I've said it a billion times. You guys already know, but I'll say it again. I'm okay if Lashley wants to go take Tony Khan's money. Mark the money mark for some money. I'm all down with that. I'm all good. But it is weird to me that Meltzer isn't putting this over. But at the same time, I do get why, because these are WWE guys, and to him, WWE's the devil. and he can't he can't watch his AEW become more sports entertainment-y, which is what they're doing. If you watch Dynamite, they're doing more like backstage stuff, and they've always done a bit of it, but this is more like they're going in that direction. They're making a play of formatting the show different. They open with like a backstage, this guy steals something and drives off, like they're trying, so that will kill Dave if that's why he's rating their matches so he always has, but he's rating them so extra ludicrously high because he's like hanging on to a thread here. Sorry, we diss Dave over here, okay? So
would you like to hear some scoop that I heard about Bobby Lashley and one of the reasons why he left WWE?
Let's hear it.
Is that he was one of Vince McMahon's boys. And when you're one of Vince's guys, he will personally oversee your contract, which basically means you'll get everything you ask for without even negotiations because you're one of my guys, one of my pals. So Lashley was on some type of giant 2 to 3 million per year deal. So obviously when someone's to be re-signed, they're expecting a raise, and the current WWE basically said like not a chance.
Yeah,
and
they didn't see it in him.
Yeah, and really, Lashley, I can't blame him. Like he could go to AEW, get $5 million a year for 2-3 years, and then come back for a final retirement run if his heart hasn't exploded.
And also, Tony will let him go if he wants to take a boxing match. He can do that. If he wants to take a fight again, he can do that. If he wants to do one of these Jake Paul whatever in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia versus whoever they line up in front, they can go do some freak show fights. So yeah, I think that's the right move for him. MVP, obviously. But here's the thing, man. Does this change anything in AEW? Do people start watching AEW more? Do they actually make an impact? Do we just see Lashley lose to Orange Cassidy, or do they fight against the White Pool Combat Club? What do you think happens, man?
Well, I'm just interested is that the fact that Chris Jericho wasn't there, because that's with him and MVP
it's true.
It's very real.
Yeah.
And it's continued behind the scenes this whole time. Like, they don't like each other. And Jericho's openly Republican, MVP's openly mega Democrat. Good for him. So so they are going to clash. And who's going to keep them in line? It's not going to be Tony going, hey guys, calm down or I'll kick the hell out of both of you.
George Capture for $10. You go ahead, Husey.
I book for the goes and I book show to show with no long-term booking. Daddy.
Oh my God.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
That was a nice voice of a real man there.
Anthony Strano. You can go ahead with this one too.
Excuse me, I've got a cum on my mouth. If Fenix went out, he should just choke Perry.
Yeah, legitimately though, just make Tony scared, bro. He'll get out of that deal. Toot sweet. He won't even sign Riddle because he's scared of Riddle, which we covered before. So Milwaukee for $5 Canadian. Go ahead, Husey, or Tony Khan. Sorry.
Thank you. How long until Jericho plays politics and MVP is banished to Collision? Pretty soon. I would love to know, like, if you've seen MVP's tattoos, he's a lot of, what's the term I should use? African American historical figures over his body.
Yeah.
He's debuted right in the middle of a white Nazi skinhead faction angle.
I know, the Neo Moxleys.
Yeah, so the Yahtzee gang.
Yeah, the Yahtzee gang.
So that's going to go down well, and it's just one of those things that, again, I'm not a pro wrestling fan. I'm a backstage wrestling fan. Mm-hmm. I just can't wait to see the drama that comes because you know it's going to happen.
Oh man! So, do you think though, like it makes yeah? I guess you're saying I don't give a. I want to know like what goes down behind the scenes, and me too. I want that juice. Here's the thing though: Jericho was on the Collision, so he wasn't on the show. We've seen Guevara not be on shows with Monet. We tracked every single one. We figured out, yeah, he's not allowed on shows that Monet is in the building for. So, with Guevara, with with Jericho and MVP. We're going to track it. Night 1, Jericho wasn't there. I'm willing to, because that's what Tony did with Punk. He made this whole other show, and he's like, we'll just keep them separate. And it's like, that doesn't work, dude. That can only work for so long before you guys have to like do a pay-per-view together.
And not to be mature, I'd really like to bang Thunder Rosa, but and also what I think is going to be fun to see is that MVP has zero problems speaking up. He spoke up against Vince to his face. He spoke up to Triple H about creative he didn't like. What's he going to do with Tony Khan? If Tony Khan thought that CM Punk tried to kill him by knocking over a bottle of water, then he's going to think that MVP tried to Harvey Weinstein him.
Officers. But back to the Lucha Bros here for a second, though. They just said there was no straight answers as the motivation of extending the Lucha Bros' deal outside of AEW wanting to get the contracted amount of time out of the duo that they were signed to. So, again, I just want to bring it to you for a sec. So, because you might know. Do you have any insight on this? Not saying without naming names, but, like maybe... do you know anything like about this, or are they just all, is it up in the air?
I have heard from a person that there is creative already in place that may also involve that person.
Yeah.
As a type of overall story that would involve
okay.
What can I say? We call it a coalitioning of two existing factions, which would be rebooted and with a sort of Godfather style thing, which was all.
Hold on a second. In WWE, of course, right? So this is all late. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I'm just
so basically, there are/were plans in place, and it will. And obviously it's been up, but I think that Penta actually is available to go.
Yeah, it's just his brother. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is a shame because they're more money together. Because especially with the WWE merch machine, like people, like if you look at the LW. They're not used well.
No.
But those wrestlers are making a lot of money from merchandise sales.
Yep.
So a lot of people would be like, oh, why would Jack Queen Wild want to be in WWE? And it's like, well, because of his monthly royalty checks, that's why. Bro. He's like, I'm not being booked today? Cool. I'll chill out backstage. I'll play the Simpsons game on my phone and
yeah, dude. I'll work out. I'll talk to the hottest girls in the world and just do my hair different.
Yeah, I'll go say hello to Triple H. Hello, boss. Yeah. Love being here today. It's like, no problem.
Amazing. George Capture for $5. You want this one, Tony Khan? Are you here or no?
Pretty sure that MVP can't use that name in AEW. I think. He actually, I know it's a dumb thing, but see, even if he put like a M-V-P thing, he could use it. And I think Ricochet obviously can.
He owned his own before he came into WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but MVP, you guys are right, but he called himself on TV. I'm MVP or whatever he said during that Dynamite promo. So, yeah, exactly. It's just like Rhino. Like RHINO, Rhino owns that, but RHYNO, WWE owns that. So there's a workaround. It's just like MXM Collective, right? They were just MXM in WWE. They're called like MXM Collection or whatever in AEW, and you can work around things like that. Thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, so dude, I'm just picturing now how you laid out that the Lucha Bros could come in, but now that's all for like at least a year. But in a year, they could still possibly do that, maybe, but it makes sense to the storyline, kind of, if you guys are paying attention to Legado del Fantasma, and if you guys are paying attention to the LWO a bit, that would totally, what Husey allegedly was fantasizing that could possibly happen would be, I'd pop so hard for that, dude. That'd be amazing.
because there is a plan. Like, I don't think it's been officially announced or even officially booked, to be honest. But of a stadium show in Mexico for like a PLE, likely next year. Which, like, if I'm booking right now, I would say just say Cody versus Ray. Like that would do that in Mexico. It could be huge.
And then Vaquer, you got that Vaquer girl. You have the You see, dude, your heart sank or what? I thought you were into Jade Cargill. What happened? I ain't got no type.
Listen, I'll take them both. I'm a nice guy that way. But
oh my God.
Yeah, and I've heard and remember a source told me that they had been trying to get a Bad Bunny versus Dominic Mysterio match going, which would be great. But at the same time, like Bad Bunny's, he's almost too big now because he's doing films and he's doing stadium shows. So it's like he may not be back, but that would be enormous.
It would be so big, dude. Oh my God.
And apparently they also had spoken about doing Bad Bunny versus Logan Paul, which, to be honest, like that sounds ridiculous.
It does.
But think of the media coverage. Like if they did that as a tag match, Logan Paul and Dominic versus
Priest and Bad Bunny.
Yeah, like that's huge.
That's huge money. And I've been saying too, the whole time Judgment Day was a thing, I was always like, Priest, they're gonna break him off, and he's gonna be the biggest babyface. Like, trust me, that's gonna be huge as a babyface when he turns back. And we're gonna get Priest and Bad Bunny team up again, like in Puerto Rico or a Mexico show. That would be amazing. But here's the thing, dude: not having the Lucha Bros. I think if the Lucha Bros come into WWE, they stand out above like LWO and everyone else because they have that look. Ray Fenix can go, and yeah, they're money when they're together. I think just bringing Penta in alone isn't the move. You got to bring them both in together. But
yeah, and you guys, Penta has so many different looks that they could, like the toy department of WWE.
Oh man.
Yeah, like they could release like 6 of him per year.
Yes.
The video games, the stuff like kids would love that type of like. That's why it's a shame to see this happening. But I agree,
dude. It's such a shame.
Yeah, but I hate to say it, but wrestlers really need to start reading their contracts because there's too many times you hear about them going, "Oh, we signed this 4-year deal, and I want to quit." It's like, but you signed for 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's like if the bosses want you, you have to do it, and there you go. And also, if Ray suddenly starts getting like unprofessional, going, "Oh, I refuse to turn up," and that could then dirty his name with other companies. So
right,
it's gonna be a weird year, but
it is, man. And it's a shame, dude. And I always said that AEW should have pushed Ray Fenix harder than they did. I was like, he could be their Rey Mysterio. I know they want to push Dragon Lee in WWE. Like, he's the next Rey Mysterio. To me, I just think it's Ray Fenix. His mask is cool. His moves are cool. I think he's a really good professional guy, honestly. Like, I don't see him being unprofessional there or anything or having boo-boo face, but they will job him out, like, because all the dirt sheets are saying it's expected you put people over on the way out and everything. It's so funny how Tony Khan said he wouldn't do any of the same stuff, talked all that. We won't soil your name when you leave our company. You can keep your name, keep your music and stuff. Like, he was talking all that. None of it's true, obviously, but it's such a shame, man. The masks Ray Fenix and Penta are going to sell. And like you said, dude, the toy department, and also with Penta, you can get those moments because, well, I guess no, we're not in the Vince era, pal. But like when they did Sin Cara versus Sin Cara Negro or whatever, you could get that with Penta versus Penta Black and stuff like that. I could see them doing something like that. Fake Undertaker, you know, they've done like that. And I mean, like you said, toys, video games, all that stuff. It's just such a shame they're going to miss out on all that opportunity and money and 1 year older. But when they come in, dude, hopefully they can keep that storyline alive that you were putting out there allegedly, because that would be amazing. I'm just marking out thinking about it right now.
Yeah, and Priest may allegedly also be part of those plans as the top, maybe Andrade. I'm just saying maybe. But I would be interested to see if Tony Khan, how he uses Ray. Like, is he going to bury him? Maybe be like, well, I have an idea, Daniel. We're going to use Ray Fenix as the flying Menendez brother, and he'll be a gay guy who killed his parents.
I'm surprised they don't have him doing like Lucha House Party with Commander, because they have Commander like dancing like Lucha House Party with the Private Party tag team. It's like shot, and Commander's a Lucha just hanging out with them dancing and like, and I'm like, dude, that's what WWE did with the Lucha House Party. That's cringe, but I'm surprised he didn't just job him like that. But he will job him. So think about everyone who left, right? Like Ethan Page did some jobs in Ring of Honor. What's his name? Brian Pillman Jr. just was a jobber the whole time. Who else? Big Swole, he just jobbed her out and then stopped calling her. Joey Janela said the same thing. He jobbed him out and just like didn't call him or didn't really communicate with him or anything. Yeah, I just think he'll just we'll just see Ray Fenix challenge for the international title randomly. No story, and then Ospreay will just beat him.
And then it'll be interesting to see, because the AEW fans or the Mega Mark fans, how will they react to Ray Fenix knowing that he doesn't want to be there? Like, will they boo Tony Khan? Will they boo Ray? That's the only interesting thing that Tony Khan has done with him.
Yeah, they're already, like, you see all the sickos already defending Tony Khan. Like, he has every right. And I said it before, they're the same people people dig it up and own them on Twitter. Like, yeah, you were talking about free this and that wrestler. One of the guys who constantly takes L's is Ibu of Wrestle Purists. Oh. This guy constantly, man, he's just like making up, I swear. So before he said, so here's a tweet from him saying a while ago, we covered this on the show a while ago, but he goes, like I said weeks ago on the Wrestle Pierce channel, Tony Khan elected to not extend Ray Fenix's contract with injury time despite reserving the right to legally do so. Ray Fenix busted his ass for AEW. He was never somebody that caused issues, etc., etc. He offered to work more during Daly's place during the pandemic. These things matter to Tony and are the same reason why Kip Sabian has a spot on TV. So Ibu was lying because he was misinformed because, yeah, Tony ended up extending the contract, and I guess it didn't mean that much to Tony because now he's realizing, young Tony McCon, this is the wrestling business, and I got to actually act like a boss a little bit. So I agree with what you said much earlier, Husey. At least Tony's showing a bit of a backbone, but he's going to get dogged because he's a hypocrite for doing so now, you know?
Oh, yeah, like, this is just the start of the trouble. We've seen how people flat out have tried to get fired. Hello, Miro. Because they can't get out of contracts. We've seen people faking injuries, not naming any Wardlow names, but we've just seen that like there's people want out because you get paid so much. You get to the point where you're financially maybe not secure enough, but financially stable enough that you can be like, right, okay, I'm gonna try my luck elsewhere because I'm not happy here. Like, I really don't get why Tony won't just let them go unless he's planning to do Phoenix beats Daniel Bryanson or whatever his name is this week. It's ridiculous.